As you can already see, this is Sid Meier's 2006 continuation of the Railroad Tycoon series as simply Railroads. This is the one game that I've collected for this series which I really am not so impressed by. You can see the animation has a lot of problems, and this is before you even try to play the game. See, Great Britain is only a tiny bit of England there. They skip through this stage so fast you don't get to read the history. And then they start you out in England, basically, not Britain generally. There's a little bit of Wales there. Actually, all of Wales, it looks like, almost. And they start you in an illogical position. You try to build your railway line, and watch what happens. First of all, you can't bulldoze this if you get it wrong. That's the first problem. Secondly, you have to keep selecting the track editor again and again. I apologize for the flicker. That's one of the few things that isn't wrong with the game. That is Open Broadcaster, and I just upgraded Open Broadcaster to try to deal with that. Now, often they won't let you place a station. In this case, they let me. The signal placement doesn't make any sense, as far as I can tell. And they put bumpers in the middle of your track, and there I can't start my route. Notice, it objects for whatever internal reason, probably that the supply and demand doesn't match perfectly. And I found that the way to solve this problem, bizarrely, is to go back to default settings. So that's what I'm going to do here. Which are also very hard to find. So you go through all the tabs. It's entirely unclear how to do it until you look down in the lower left and notice Reset All. So reset everything to default, which is, again, this is ridiculous. You shouldn't have to do this every single time you play the game. And go back to single player in the same scenario, and I have to select the scenario again. Set up 3 opponents again. And then they start me out in Hastings. And even though they have Hastings, they don't have Brighton, they don't have any of the major railway towns in the southeast of England. They just have Hastings, which I don't really understand. Then if you go to London, watch this. It's very, very hard to build a station in London, because they tell you that you're not close to London when you're close to London. Now here I'm looking around to find the best angle to attempt this station construction, but as you'll see, it's going to fight me. See, it tells me I'm not close to London even though I am, which is infuriating. So then I have to run tracks directly into the city. It hides the tracks. I can't tell where the tracks are as a result. So I have to put the station here and hope for the best. Then I buy the train, and it looks like it will actually let me run the train this time. So I'll make an attempt. Another thing, it forces you to put the mail car at the rear of the train, which is exactly the opposite of where it's supposed to be, which is also incredibly irritating. So then I go through these menus in an attempt at finding some way of looking up the stations to make sure I actually built that station. The menus in general don't make any sense in this, and it's very hard to edit anything. There isn't even a scenario editor, and what I've read is you have to hack it to unlock a scenario editor which is hidden away, which is absurd. Although, to be fair, in the Railroad Tycoon games, you don't edit the scenario while you're playing it, to be fair. To place trains or to start companies, you can play part of a game. But also, you can't rename your stations. That was another thing I was trying to figure out here. So if I go to the station upgrade, I can't do it. If I click on the name, I can't do it. Apparently, they force you to name your station after the town that they've designated and the class of station. Depot, station, and so on. Again, these terms are being misused as well. Depot does not mean the smallest possible station. But in any case, I attempt to get the game unpaused here, and at first it, again, is confusing because the play button doesn't shut off pause, it only changes the timescale. But here I have it in the normal timescale, and let's see how it goes. A lot of the dialogue is silly also. They're using US terminology in Britain with a British accent, which makes no sense. Again, as I said earlier, this flicker is not actually one of the bugs in the game. That's a result of Open Broadcaster. So I finally get a little bit of revenue there. And the train turns around and departs. Then they have Hitchin up there north of London, which is one of the first stops out of London, but it's not accurately placed here because that's closer to the location of Stevenage or Luton. But I attempt to build a line to it. I forgot the station. If I put a station, or depot as they call it, then it won't let me route the train there. Same old problem. Again, probably something to do with supply and demand, which is probably not even accurate, because there are houses there, so obviously there should be passengers. But that's about it. I think this is the only negative review I'm going to do. Thanks for watching.